Come celebrate the holidays at the National Army Museum in Alexandria, Virginia. Jump in the VR simulators to ride Santa's jet-powered sleigh or fly over frozen landscape in the Great Glacier Race. Enjoy special deals and discounts at the museum store and cafe every Saturday in December from 3 to 5. And bring your out-of-town friends and family too, because admission and parking are free. Celebrate the holidays at the National Army Museum. A full list of holiday fun is at usarmymuseum.org. That's usarmymuseum.org.
The FIFA World Cup is live on Sky Sport.
Oh, what a goal!
See every game of football's ultimate showcase.
Glorious!
You need to subscribe to Sky Starter and Sky Sport to watch this premium content. For details, see sky.co.nz.
Welcome to Football FIFA with Jason Pine.
I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again.
Powered by News Talk ZB and Sky Sport, the home of the FIFA World Cup. All 64 matches live.
Hello and welcome into Football Fever, your daily World Cup podcast in association with our good friends at Sky Sport. I'm Jason Pine with David Choate across the desk. We've had 62 of the 64 games, Choate. I don't know about you, it seems to have flown by, just 2 games to go.
Yeah, unbelievable. I start to get a bit sad about this time because there's only one more game beyond the third and fourth playoff for us to focus on, and then I build for another 4 years. So, yeah, it's coming to its ultimate crescendo, its peak. But before the peak, we have the third and fourth playoff match.
Yeah, I want to talk about that in a sec. But you're right. In the starting few days of the tournament, the games come so thick and fast, don't they? 4 games and you don't know where to look and you've got no sleep and you're trying to work out which group is which and who has to play who next and all that sort of thing. And then we sort of get zeroed down into the knockout matches, the quarterfinals. Man, we had some games, didn't we, in the semis? And it all gets just tighter and tighter and tighter until we reach these last 2 matches. But the third and fourth place playoff, it's an interesting one because, you know, it's the game, I guess, that nobody really wants to play. Having said that, if you're Morocco and at the start of the tournament, someone said to you, you're playing the third and fourth place match, you'd bite their hand off for that, wouldn't you?
I'm sure they would. To get to play 7 games at a World Cup means you're in the top 4. So they get their 7th game. It's probably not the 7th game that everyone dreams of. The 7th game should be the final, but this one is the third and fourth playoff. Apologies to the Moroccan listeners out there, but Walid Regragui, I'll go with that, Regragui, their manager or coach, described this as the booby prize in the interview during the week. I'm sure he'll have his side up for it and ready to go. It's an international. They're a side that have ridden highs to get to where they've got to, and I'm sure they'll want to bow out with a good performance. These games are meaningless for everyone else, but I think the players step out and go, well, it's an international against a Croatian side, a chance to once again show your worth. Huge match for the individuals, less so for the fans. I think the fans will just go in and celebrate and enjoy it. Won't be as tense as the matches that came before. I think I read that 17 out of sort of the last 18 of these were done in normal time. There was no extra time. It wasn't the sort of tight, affair. So it could be a free-flowing game, although injuries and tiredness and exhaustion will mean undoubtedly there are changes, probably on both sides.
Yeah, and I think it's a chance also to give guys a game, isn't it? Because, there's been a lot of high-stakes action for both of these sides as they try to make their way through. And perhaps this is the opportunity for players on the fringes of the 11 and even on the fringes of the 14-15 to get a game. I'm not saying that there'll be wholesale changes for either side. Interesting what you said about the way the game might play out, because with the stakes not really high, is it likely we'll see 2 of the more defensively minded sides of the competition, Croatia and Morocco, come out and have a bit of a go?
You'd hope so. I think even stats will tell us that these are the 2 most miserly sides in the competition. They don't attack with any great number. They've typically sat in games, stayed in games, and pinched their results through penalty shootouts, extra time. They're the specialists. But you would think that the shackles get thrown off a bit more freedom. And I even think the bodies aren't up for another sort of 120 minutes. I think the bodies of both sets of players are probably pretty well spent. And they'll hopefully play a free-flowing game at 4 a.m, Piney.
Yes, it's an interesting time, isn't it? We've been used to our 8 a.m. kickoffs over the last little while. Yeah, to get up at 4 for this game and for the final is just, I guess, our final piece of punishment for being the football fans, the football fanatics that we are. I suppose before most games we talk about who might win the game. Croatia would have to be favourite, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think they would be favoured, and they have undoubtedly a better side across the board, I think, player for player. Brozanov might not be in. Some injury worries
saw that.
there.
Yep.
So maybe...
Modric will play, won't he?
Yeah, I think so. In fact, interesting with Modric, is it his last game at the World Cup or is it his last international? The jury's out. He hasn't said so, and I wouldn't assume that he's done yet because he doesn't look like a player that's running on empty. He looks like one of the finer athletes that they have. So he may well go again. Euros coming up. So it may not be the last time we see Luka Modric pull on that Croatian shirt.
And you spoke about him in a pod during the week that the backstory to Luka Modric is absolutely fascinating. And I don't know, even though he is an absolutely spectacular footballer, a Ballon d'Or winner, let's not forget that, a World Cup finalist 4 years ago, it's almost as though football doesn't define him.
No, yeah, I would think, well, the pressure doesn't get to him and he doesn't seem to get too emotional at any stage. He's had a tough road to where he's got to. I think he's faced bigger challenges than even a World Cup semi-final. I don't think that's the high point of his pressure points in his life. And I think there's a documentary out there somewhere on Netflix or someone to follow the life of Luka Modric. What a champion, and for Croatia, their greatest ever. Although there is another little stat, isn't there? Perisic, I think, if he scores, overtakes Davor Suker as their top goal scorer at World Cup. So there's little moments within matches that might create a little bit of history, particularly for the Croatians.
Yeah, I don't want to dwell too long on one player, but you look at Luka Modric and you look at the other individual stars around world football at the moment, and you look at Lionel Messi, obviously, and Kylian Mbappe at this World Cup. Cristiano Ronaldo, his star is starting to wane a bit, but you think about the way those players play, and then you look at Luka Modric, and I watched him intently at this World Cup, and I can't remember him playing a misplaced pass, whether it be over 5 yards or 35 yards. He is metronomic, a word you've used a lot. He just seems to have this innate ability to retain possession of the football.
Perpetual motion, he's always moving. He doesn't seem to have gears to chop through. He just has one gear.
Yes,
he just stays at relatively quick pace all the time. Gets on the ball happily, always making himself available, never out of the game. And that's what the Croatian side is. They're just a fabulous midfield with some talent at the back. Young Guardiola, I think, also carrying a knock. I think that I've been reading that he's in doubt, but I suspect he'll play.
I see Chelsea are in for him.
Yeah. Well, who's not? Chelsea are in for everybody. Don't worry about that. Yeah. You read the gossip columns now. All of the players have put their hand up at the World Cup. There's a window opening in January. It'll be a bit of a free for all. It'll be interesting to see who spends the dough. But Chelsea are in for him. He'd make a wonderful addition to any Premier League side because he's got a future, that boy.
Is he 20, 21?
Yeah, 21.
For him to be playing centre-back with such a surety at that age.
Yeah, and I don't know, do you know if the mask's a permanent fixture?
I don't, but I have seen some photos of him playing without it, so I can only assume he's got a tendon. He might have broken his nose or something, because the thing is, if I'm him, I just keep wearing it.
I was out last night and talking to, as you'd only be talking football at this time of year with a bunch of football heads. They wondered whether he lost Messi in the vision of the mask. I said, well, it's a decent theory. He couldn't see Messi below him because of the mask, but no, I think Messi just took him to school and he'll be better for it. But yeah, Croatia have produced some talent. Modric is their talisman, but they're certainly not a one-man side. If anything, Croatia just lacked a pointy end for me. They lacked the kind of striker that takes the attention of other teams. So
imagine Davor Suker in this side. It would have been a very different proposition, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Let's just finish on Morocco, because they have been the story of this Football World Cup, the first African side, as we know, to make it this far. They've been the darlings of the tournament. Obviously, it's almost been like a home tournament for them, hasn't it, with the fans that have arrived en masse from Morocco and those who already presumably live in Qatar and have turned up to support them. I guess what they'll hope is that this isn't an end point, it's actually a launching pad for them.
Yeah, well, the big talk was first African nation, and I think we always thought as football fans that the southern part of Africa might produce the next big thing, but it's the northern part of Africa that's producing the teams, and it's Arabic. The Arabic football world is on fire. That part of Africa is a hotbed of talent. And what do you like about them? Well, you love their passion, their togetherness, their oneness. They don't seem to have the same sort of nastiness that some sides, we talk about Portugal were niggly. Argentina, you could have a bit of a nasty streak. This side seemed to be very together and well managed. They're really good. I loved the Hakimi Mbappe story. I don't know if you saw the photos of those two.
I did.
In game, after game, two best mates. Full respect for each other. It was a really respectful display, but they've lit up the Arab world and their fans are as passionate as any.
Yeah, and they've certainly made their mark on this Football World Cup when the story of it is written. Obviously, the winner will be the main headline, but Morocco will be there or thereabouts as the talking point of this World Cup when it's all done and dusted. So third and fourth place playoff tomorrow morning, 4 a.m. on Sky Sport. Just a very quick word on the World Cup final, which we'll preview in depth on the pod tomorrow. Argentina, France. I lay awake last night with my heart battling my head over this. I honestly, Chody, I cannot pick it.
Yeah, no, it is very tight. As I said, out with a couple of footy mates last night, we were talking who wins it. After one beer, it was France. After two beers, it was Argentina.
That's when your heart starts to take over, maybe.
Yeah. So you sort of bounce around and very hard to separate. We'll talk about it more, but I think it's another sleepless night for you, Piney. We'll be up early to watch the football, but we'll be thinking about the final with that booby prize of a match, the third and fourth playoff.
4 o'clock tomorrow morning on Sky Sport, and then Monday morning, 4 o'clock, Argentina v France for the World Cup. What an absolutely remarkable climax it promises to be to the end of this World Cup. Seems odd to be talking about a World Cup as we attack our Christmas shopping, Chody, but I guess what you were saying before, you've got to wait 4 more years. You only have to wait 3.5 more years for the next one now.
Yeah, fantastic. Christmas has come early for us, Piney. What beats a World Cup final as a Christmas present?
The FIFA World Cup is live on Sky Sport.
Oh, what a goal!
See every game of football's ultimate showcase.
Glorious!
You need to subscribe to Sky Starter and Sky Sport to watch this premium content. For details, see sky.co.nz.